This week's episode of New on Music Row features artists from Illinois and South Carolina, and also from Kentucky and Alabama. And the reason why I'm highlighting those two is because these are duets or features or whatever you want to call it from both of these particular artists on a couple of songs in the 5 picks this week. Stick around. You don't want to miss all the details. Plus, a really cool concert announcement coming up at the end of the show as well. You got to stick around because it's the only way to see it. And it's all right here on the Rise Network. Hey everybody, welcome to episode number 43. So many of you told me that you like it when I tell you what episode we're on, so there you go. I don't know why. Maybe it's I don't even know what the right word is there, but I would have said, back in the day, we would have said anal retentive, but we can't say that word anymore, so let's not. All right, there we go. Anyway, let's take a look at the 5 picks from last week. A lot of real big names last week and some real big names this week as well, too. So I think this week we're going to get some decent likes on some of the stuff that I've picked for the week. Some great stuff out there. Last week we had Don't Tell Me by Jason Aldean. 1.1 million streams on that. Again, I don't think anybody is surprised by that. Jordan Davis was next with Like God Intended. 1.2 million streams. I think I missed to say that it was Jason Aldean's Don't Tell on Me. That was the first song we featured last week, and then the second song was Like God Intended, Jordan Davis. 1.2 million streams. Those two kind of duking it out for streams as far as that goes. Dead End Red Dirt Road from Lainey Wilson, 224,000 streams. That one didn't do as well as I thought it would, but I think that's because it was on a soundtrack, and I don't think it got as much airplay last week as I originally thought it was going to. Painted You Pretty from Hudson Westbrook, doing very well. Actually beat Jason and Jordan this week. 1.7 million streams. I think he's at like 45.5 million streams on that song alone. So Hudson is definitely making a name for himself, and you guys are digging him. So there you go. Then last but not least, You and Me, Cameron Whitcomb, 1.1 million streams. He, of course, is from British Columbia, Canada. So some great stuff from listening to him from as well. And, of course, don't forget that this Rising Star Spotlight this week and also the Rising Star Spotlight from last week, all of the music that we talk about in this show can be found on the playlist right there on good old Spotify. I did things a little bit differently. We've kind of mixing things around and stuff like that. We're going to change the way we do things. We're going to put the new songs on top, and then everything else is going to kind of filter off from the bottom there. So if you're listening to an older episode, and you're kind of like, wait, where's some of that music go? You probably find it towards the bottom of that. But if you're listening to this episode, those songs will be listed for you right there at the top. And they're on Spotify right now. You can find them right there, Spotify. Just look for New on Music Row. It's a playlist, and you'll find all these songs there as well. Plus, this week, you're also going to find Just Believe Me, one of the 5 picks from this week with Bailey Zimmerman and Brandon Lake. This is going to be a powerhouse song for many reasons, but it's got a great theme in it as well. Of course, Brandon Lake, known for being a worship artist, and it's really cool to see all these country artists come alongside of him and just creating these amazing songs. Bailey's from right here in Illinois, Louisville, as a matter of fact, or Louisville. And then, of course, Brandon Lake is from South Carolina. Bailey Zimmerman, we featured him on the 5 picks last year with Chevy Silverado. Also some great stuff from him. Backup Plan, which features Luke Combs. Rockin' a Hard Place, Religiously, and Where It Ends. All great songs from him as well. And then, of course, who can forget Fall in Love? Just Bailey is such... If you've ever seen him live, he's just so cool. Like... Yeah, he's got this great stage presence or persona. He bounces around a lot, and he's got a lot of energy. But he's got such an amazing story, and he's such an inspiration. And I can't wait to see what this kid's career is going to shape out to be. I think he's got some great years ahead of him. And we'll keep you here for the journey and see what he does. Up next in the 5 picks this week, Can't Sit Still, Lainey Wilson. I think this one is going to do tremendous for her. She's, of course, from Baskin, Louisiana. Last song we featured on the show from her was Peace, Love, and Cowboys. Actually, technically, the last song was last week, Dead End Red Dirt Road. But like I said, it was on a soundtrack. And I think think I think it's not going to do as well for her as I thought it would, which is a bummer because then I can't have my great story about how "Heart Like a Truck" was the first song that everybody was like, "Oh my God, she's absolutely amazing," and my program director and stuff like that. Anyway, I've told the story like 3 or 4 times, so watch one of the older episodes. You can see it there. I think I talked about it last episode, so watch last episode. Up next, Sunburn, Tucker Wetmore. He's from Kalama, Washington. Last song we featured from him a couple weeks ago was Brunette. That song just took off. It was already released, so a lot of you had already heard it. And it was just kind of one of those no-brainers that you needed to put it on the radio. It's just such a great song. Sunburn's going to be a great one for him as well, too. And again, you can find it on the playlist on Spotify. Just look for New on Music Row. It'll be up right there up at the top. And I hope you enjoy it. Up next on the 5 picks, If I Don't Leave, I'm Gonna Stay. Carly Pearce and Riley Green. This song just absolutely, it's just one of those tongue-in-cheek, like fun kind of songs. You know what I mean? Carly's from Taylor Mill, Kentucky. Riley Green's from Jacksonville, Alabama. Riley Green, of course, making a huge name for himself this past year. Don't Mind If I Do, Worst Way, Different Around Here, some great stuff from him. Wish Grandpa Never Died, an older song of his that a lot of people love. And then, of course, Carly Pearce, I mean, she's been around for so long and just has such a great career. I Hope You're Happy Now, What He Didn't Do, Every Little Thing, Never Wanted to Be That Girl. Last song we featured of hers was Church Girl. And of course, she's just an amazing talent and just an amazing voice. And this song and these two artists combining together is going to make this another one of those big, huge hits. I think you might put it on certain playlists, but we'll leave that one alone. And then last but not least, Russell Dickerson just keeps releasing them. And this week he's got BOAT or Boat. And it's a fun comparison between a girl and a boat. He's, of course, from Union City, Tennessee. The last song we featured of his was The Roses. I think that was like late January. And, of course, Russell got some great stuff. Sorry, didn't mean to do that to you, Russell. But Russell's got some great stuff. Also, really cool in concert as well. He seems real down to earth, but has a lot of energy and brings everything to his performances as well. So those are the 5 picks of the week. Let's take a recap of them. Just Believe, Bailey Zimmerman and Brandon Lake. I think this is going to be one of those songs that might make a believer out of you. We'll see. Lainey Wilson's Can't Sit Still. I don't think you're going to be able to sit still after hearing that song. I think it's going to do well for her. Tucker Wetmore, Sunburn. New stuff from him. We'll see where that lands and see if he can top his success from Brunette. If I Don't Leave, I'm Gonna Stay. Carly Pearce and Riley Green, another song that I think is going to be on certain playlists. And then last but not least, Boat, or B-O-A-T, from Russell Dickerson. I think this is going to be one of those fun party songs for the summer as well, too. Those are the 5 picks of the week. Make sure you check them out. You can listen to the full versions of them right there on Spotify. The playlist, of course, New on Music Row. Don't forget to check it out. Great stuff on there every single week. Speaking of great stuff, the Rising Star Spotlight of the Week. And this gal, although she is a rising star, she's got a really cool person in her camp, we'll just say. I'm talking about Megan Patrick. If you know who she is, then you kind of already know who I'm referring to. She's from Bowmanville, Ontario, so she's a Canadian, but you wouldn't be able to tell that from her songs. Some great stuff out there, and I just think that Megan's going to do very well for herself. She's got a wonderful voice and some great songwriting skills as well, and her husband, pretty well known. So we'll get to that in just a second. Megan, of course, got some great stuff out there called Golden Child, Safe Place to Break, which is one of my favorites of hers. That's the song that's been on repeat this week. I Hope It Snows. I love that song. The Bad Guy and She's No Good for Me. All great stuff from her as well. We'll feature a couple of these on the playlist right there on the Rising or on the new on Music Row playlist rather on Spotify. You can check it out there. But here's why I picked Megan. She's got such an eclectic taste of music, and it reflects in her music. She's also classically trained as well, too. She is not even close to being a one-genre artist. She studied opera and jazz at McGill University, and she just has so many different sounds in all of her music. Like I said, the opera and the jazz, the funk, the bluegrass. And she says that while country is home, she draws from many genres to ensure her sound is unique rather than an imitation of others. And that's really what it boils down to about becoming a superstar. Your sound just has to be unique and not really kind of copied from somebody else. Her music is raw and unfiltered. Her lyrics are just a perfect way of storytelling. She says that her music is the truest representation of her life. She likes to focus on authenticity and the realness that, of course, first drew her to the country genre. And I think if you're into country music as much as I am, and that's probably the reason why you're listening to and or watching this show on YouTube, by the way, country music drew you just because of the rawness and the storytelling that's behind it. Yeah, you get that in some other genres, but there's nothing that the storytelling and the realness and the rawness just doesn't get any better than it does in country music. She also, very interestingly enough, though, was actually an Olympic snowboarder before she began to pursue her music career. She trained intensely throughout high school, and the goal, of course, was to make the national development team, and eventually she'd ended up competing in the Olympics. At age 13, she co-founded an all-girl band, and then she later founded a 10-piece funk band that opened for Aretha Franklin, as a matter of fact. She's toured extensively as part of the bluegrass group called the Stone Sparrows, so you may know her from there as well. She's a diehard fan of trucks and the Buffalo Bills, but we won't hold that against her. She's famously insisted on driving her GMC pickup around Nashville's tight streets rather than switching to a more sensible car. So if you've seen somebody tearing it up there in a GMC pickup truck, chances are it could be her. Music was the fallback career. Like I said, she was prominently trying to focus on a serious snowboarding career, but unfortunately an accident and subsequent concussions forced her to retire from the sport. All right, so I teased you enough. I've left this actually, there's two little pieces. I'm going to leave the last piece out, who her husband is. We're going to hold on to that for just a second. Because I think this other portion of her interest is kind of no surprise. You know, she loves snowboarding, so it kind of goes without saying that she loves being outdoors. She loves hunting, fishing, and golf. And of course, you know, being a snowboarder, I mean, those things kind of go together, right? I mean, I realize that they're in different seasons of the year, but if you're outside on a snowboard trying to get some major air, it would kind of seem to me that during the summer you might be out maybe, doing the opposite thing and relaxing, playing golf or something. I don't know. All right, last but not least, here's who she's married to. So this couple first met at the Losers Bar in Nashville, which is where her husband has also, which is where her now husband actually ultimately proposed to her as well. So you ready for who it is? Dun, 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 dun. Mitchell Tenpenny, nonetheless. So an interesting story there. I believe, if I remember correctly, she, I think she was the one. I'm not gonna even say it. I think because of her love of outdoors, she has some really interesting things that she did for her wedding as well too. But don't quote me on that because I'm trying to remember that off the top of my head. And I'm not sure if I'm getting her or another artist confused who just got married recently, who also has a huge love for the outdoors. So anyway, that's the Rising Star Spotlight of the week. Megan Patrick, check her out. We'll have a couple of songs on our Spotify playlist. Again, it's new on Music Row. And, enjoy her. She's got an eclectic sound, and I think she's going to do well for herself. And if you start following her, then she'll gain more followers. So there you go. Let's take a look at country music history. Unfortunately, on this date of March the 13th, we don't have any famous people who were born that are still alive, but as far as country music is concerned, but we do have a couple of very famous people who were born on this date that I think you'll know as soon as I mention their names. William H. Macy, ever heard of that guy? He was born in 1950. You probably know him as the dad from Shameless. He was also in Homicide and Water Edge. He was born in Miami, Florida on this date in 1950. And then born on this date in 1960 in Chinnor, England, and I might be pronouncing that incorrectly. That is a well-known bassist. Well, the band that he's in is kind of well-known, although if you did follow the band or do follow the band at all, then you definitely know who the bassist is. I'm talking about Adam Clayton, and he, of course, is the bassist for U2. So he has a birthday today. Born in 1960 on this date. Taking a look at country music history, in 1980, Willie Nelson was number one on the country chart for My Heroes Have Always Been Cowboys. It's the title song of the soundtrack to the 1979 film The Electric Horseman, which starred Robert Redford and Jane Fonda and was directed by Sidney Pollack. It was written by Sharon Vaughn, and it was his fifth number one single. In 1987, George Strait was number one on the country chart with Oceanfront Property. Ah, man, I love that song. His seventh studio album and his first debut at number one on the Billboard Top Country Albums chart. It was ranked number 5 on CMT's list of 40 greatest albums in country music back in 2006. In 1999, Trisha Yearwood was inducted into the Grand Ole Opry by Porter Wagner. Yearwood was, she sold over 15 million records worldwide. She's married to Garth Brooks. I mean, she's got so many awards and so many nominations. She's won 3 Grammys, 3 awards from the Academy of Country Music, and 3 awards from the Country Music Association. If you don't know who Trisha Yearwood is, you must be new to country music. All right. Moving on to 2005 or 2005, Rascal Flatts was number 1 on the U.S. Country Music Album Chart with Feels Like Today. I remember when that song came out. It was kind of an inspiration to me, actually. It's also now sold over 5 million copies just in the U.S. alone. Go figure. And I'm sure with the Reunion Surgeons tour that's going on right now, I'm sure people are really diving into their music as well, too. Last but not least, in 2011, this band, which we can no longer refer to by their full name, we have to call them Lady A now. They were at number 1 on the U.S. Country Chart with Own the Night, which won the Grammy Award for Best Country Album at the 54th Grammy Awards. There were some great singles released from that. One of my favorite songs of theirs from all time, Just a Kiss, We Own the Night, Dancing Away with My Heart, and Wanted You More. I love Just a Kiss, it just resonates with me so much. But that happened in 2001 for Lady A. So there's a look at country music history, and now let's take a look at my weekly pick. I ran across this guy in a couple of different ways, and then found out that he actually was an artist. And I was blown away by this. This guy's from Dayton, Ohio. The song that kind of got me interested in his musical career, although I was already interested in another aspect of his career, he wrote a song called Love You Now. Came out February 15th, as a matter of fact, of this year. It was in the new releases that week, and I was like, oh my God, this song is great. Started listening to some of his stuff. And then I looked at his name, and I was like, why do I know this name? And after listening to songs like No Horse, No Ride, Hold On, Burn, and Playing on the Tracks, and then, of course, Love You Now, I was like, oh, wait a second. I know where I heard of this guy. And I'm sure as soon as I tell you who he is, you're probably going to be like, oh, yeah. He was born into a musical family. Before he was a cowboy, he was a drummer. He grew up playing drums, piano, and guitar in his father's Pentecostal church in Ohio. He even played drums for an all-country band in Los Angeles called Mitchell's Folly before he went on to a solo music career, which actually has taken off quite a bit. He's got an upcoming album coming out in April of this year. It's going to be called Redbird. It's his 2nd studio album. And he's got some eclectic taste beyond country. He says Nirvana, the Beatles, and black gospel music are significant influences, particularly for their drumming style. Go figure, right? Makes sense, though, because his father was also a pastor. He was a pastor of a Pentecostal church. He's not a fan of the organized religion today, but he does credit his upbringing from, being taught in the Pentecostal church. All right, so enough of the tease. Let's find out who it is, right? I'm talking about Luke Grimes. And now, if the name doesn't ring a bell, then let's talk about a little known show where he plays Case Dutton. You know the name of the show just yet? Have you got it? You got it yet? Yellowstone? Yeah, Yellowstone. And here's the thing. He had absolutely no cowboy experience before he was cast. And he wasn't prepared for it. So to prepare for it, they, of course, put him in a cowboy boot camp, which is what a lot of these shows do nowadays, is they put them through some kind of boot camp. Like on another program that I'm in called Cheesy Popcorn, I talked about a show that I absolutely love. It's called The Pit. And the actors from that show were put into like an ER boot camp. I think about 4 days worth of stuff. So, Luke kind of going through the same thing on his end for cowboys, and he learned how to ride and work with cattle and how to make his portrayal of a rancher feel even more authentic than it was. Here's something really cool about his acting career. Long before he joined the Dutton family, he auditioned for the role of Edward Cullen in the Twilight Saga. The role that went to Robert Pattinson. Yeah, the two were often compared early in their careers for how much they looked alike. If you put the two next to each other, I wish we could do that here, but there's so many copyright laws and stuff like that we'd have to go through. But if you were to go onto your computer and take their two pictures and kind of put them side by side, you know how to do that stuff. They do, especially back in the day, like if you look at the Twilight years, they do look a lot alike. So that's kind of cool. Now, he did launch his solo career in December of 2022. with the single No Horse to Ride. We're going to feature that in the playlist along, of course, with Love You Now. It reached number 7 on Billboard's Country Digital Song Sales chart that year as well. His sound is outlaw country. He's heavily influenced by a lot of outlaw icons, Johnny Cash, Merle Haggard, Waylon Jennings, and he writes his own stuff. 10 of the 13 tracks on his debut album were basically songs that he wrote to share his real story rather than playing a character. He's written quite a few of the songs that are on Redbird as well, too. So I think you'll enjoy him. Check him out. Love You Now is the weekly pick of the week from Luke Grimes. A couple other stuff to check out from him. We'll put No Horse, No Ride on the playlist, but make sure you check out Hold On and Burn. I think you're going to enjoy those as well. Of course, the weekly pick one more time. Love You Now, Luke Grimes. Right here on New on Music Row, only on the Rise Network. Now, last but not least, we've got some great shows coming up. Remember, the Band of Heathens is going to be at Garcia's Chicago on the 18th. I featured them a couple of weeks ago, talking about they were the weekly pick for a pretty cool song, as a matter of fact. I don't know if you got a chance to listen to it yet or not, but it's such a smooth song. And I love it so much. Lead Don't Follow was the name of that song, and that was on the playlist right there on Spotify a couple weeks ago, so you can find it there as well, too. They're going to be, again, at Garcia Chicago on the 18th, and then Lanco is going to be at Joe's Live Rosemont on the 14th, so tomorrow night, and then Sunday night at City Winery. I'm not sure if tickets are still available, but they are. If they are, you should go see this really cool venue to go see somebody. Cassidy Pope is going to be there. So if you're a fan of Cassidy, you probably already have tickets, but if you didn't know, she's going to be at City Winery on Sunday, the 15th of March. And that's the show for this week. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Let me know in the comment section, like I always say, if you've got a birthday shout out you want to give out, or if there's a rising star you know about, or just, some other song that you think I should be listening to, some song that maybe resonated with you, or maybe helped you in a certain time. Because like I like to say, music has the power to help you through so many different things and to resonate with you in such a magnificent way, sometimes in a way that only you know the true story. But we'll keep talking about the stories. We'll keep talking about the music because you guys keep watching and we love it so much. Again, I can't thank you any more from the bottom of my heart. I totally appreciate you guys and all of your support. And of course, we'll keep doing this as long as you keep supporting it. We'll see you next week. And until then, I'll see you on the flip side.